Biggest surprises, biggest disappointments of the year. Who wants to go first?
I have a surprise, which is kind of a disappointment. I don't own it, so it's not very disappointing, but
Definitely a surprise.
The Kinder Morgan soap opera of the last couple of months is one of my biggest surprises.
The
Third
dividend
largest
cut,
company and energy company in North America. Supposed stalwart dividend payer. Brightest CEO in the energy industry, according to almost everyone.
Darling of the former Enron empire.
Yes.
All that good stuff.
All that good stuff. And then out of nowhere, they go ahead and they acquire more of Natural Gas Company of America. Get downgraded on their outlook by Moody's. Market gets a little crazy.
Starting to worry about losing
because
their
this company that
investment
they bought up to 50% of it, and it was a very debt-laden company. So they're worried.
Do you think that was a smart move? Is the market wrong?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough to really understand whether it's a good move or not. But Moody's thought that they would have to put a whole ton of money into this company to restructure it. Granted, the other 50% is owned by Brookfield Infrastructure Partners, which is a very well-performing company out of Canada that has a great reputation. So two companies, obviously, that have great track records, have a lot of faith in this company, but Moody's downgraded their outlook
at their debt levels.
Yeah, a little bit nervous at the debt levels. So what happened next? Kinder Morgan said they're trimming their growth of their dividend from 14% to 6 to 10% next year. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, maybe we're not going to grow it at all.
Happened? What was the time
And then all of a
span
sudden
there?
they're like mid-October to mid-November, late November.
This is the 2-month story towards the end of the year.
Then they're not going to grow it at all. Then they're going to cut it by 75%.
What happened in that month?
I think they just came to the realization that I think they might have known it, but then the rating agency came out and got ahead of them, and they were worried about losing their actual debt rating.
Right. And then the stock went up. After
That's
they cut
because
it.
they cut their dividend. That was the big overhang. So they had more short interest. They had a lot of selling of yield holders worried about a dividend cut. So once they made it, people were like, okay, it's cut 75%. We know what this stock is about now. They're not going to take on any more debt. They're not going to issue equity. They're going to fund their growth internally. They're still Kinder Morgan.
Right.
Let's get into it a little bit more. Take a little bite because it's trading around book value. At least it was before it popped a little bit. And that's where we stand today. So dividend down 75%.
Nice.
Paying it was up to a 13% yield at one point. Now it's around a 3% yield. A little bit more reasonable. Still lower than it historically was.
Played out like a nice, beautiful Telemundo.
Totally. 2 months, it was like a great series, except it was something that happened almost every single
I wonder
day.
what's going to happen next.
So I think that you've probably seen the end of this saga because their outlook is now stable again for Moody's. They basically were just on the phone with Moody's for 2 months, figuring out what the heck they need to do to get their investment grade ratings, not back, but keep it, and then get their outlook from negative to stable, which they did the very next day that they cut their dividend.